Hi guys, it's Matt. Welcome to the video. I am a compulsive gambler in recovery and I am your mind and movement mentor here to help you. So today I want to talk about something that I think all compulsive gamblers get faced with at some point. I know I have, and that is the feeling of being a failure. I think that in particular in the modern day where we really place an emphasis on materialistic possessions, financial attainment as a main kind of measure of success. Compulsive gambling will lead you to not have that. It really will. I turned 40 a few months back and I am not at the financial position that I would have anticipated when I was 8, 12, 16 years old of how I'd be at 40. And it can be tough. It can be tough to consider life through a bit of a negative lens and feel like that. When I've had big gambling losses in the past and I've not felt like I've had any control over my actions, it does make you feel like that. It does make you feel like you are essentially a failure and there is no kind of compelling future that you've got. But I want to give you like a bit of a positive reframe of a way that you can think about this, if that is you. If you've lost a lot of money, which goes hand in hand with being a compulsive gambler, you can probably relate to what I'm saying, the feelings of feeling like a failure. But I would say, as a reframe, the way to think about it is that it's not so much the money that is the important side of things, it's more the time lost. I think if I actually truly think about it, it's probably more the regret of the time. It sounds like a flippant statement, but money essentially comes and goes. It can be earned back. Someone could compensate you quite quickly financially, but you can't go back and get years of your life that you've maybe wasted in addiction, in compulsive behaviour. Especially if you reflect on the opportunity cost of the things that you could have done with that time. But it's very easy to beat yourself up and think that you're a failure in a comparison headspace. Like the old saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy, especially in the modern day with social media. And you look at a lot of people sharing, their successes, their material trappings, possessions, things like that they've accumulated. And it's very, very easy to just further think that you are more of a failure by contrast. But I don't think that is healthy. It's definitely not a healthy way to think about it. One, because that's just a game that you can't win anyway. Even as someone who wasn't a compulsive gambler, there's always going to be someone more richer than you with more abundance, more possessions. So that is just fundamentally a flawed concept and a game you can't win. But I think to think of it in the time paradigm is quite powerful, because I feel like now that I'm in recovery, I actually can recover time. Granted, I can't go back like a time capsule into the past and live years of my 20s or 30s again that I was wasting in addiction. But I can protect my time going forward, and I can value that differently, and I can utilize that better, and I can utilize it with more of a experience and like a wisdom thinking back on the past. And there is a value in that. There is definitely a value in that, in terms of maybe valuing the time that you've got going forward now, valuing the present moment a bit more, realizing that time is quite finite and life is short. and wanting to kind of maximize it. I'd like to think I've got a bit more of a newfound respect for time because of the time that I've wasted in the past. And that feels good. And it feels like it's definitely a positive spin on ruminating in the past, just thinking about time and money that's been lost. I feel like there's a value in that to a degree, from a learn from your mistakes perspective, but you don't want to spend forever back there and rob yourself of kind of the future that you've got and the time that you've got now. So that, I think, is like a really kind of powerful reframe where you can think about how you're going to have more of a respect for your time going forward. You're going to not waste it. You're going to do things that you really enjoy with people that you really love and care about. And you're going to have a bit more of a kind of a respect for it and put a premium on your time going forward, which is a great habit to have. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that today because I feel like that's something that, as someone who is a compulsive gambler, you probably can relate to, say, the feelings of feeling like a failure, thinking about living in the past of what's gone on with what you've lost, how you've acted. And like I say, you want to channel that to build more of a compelling future. And that way, those experiences can kind of provide you with a bit of positive value rather than just reliving them, thinking about, let's say, the opportunity cost of all the things that you could have done, thinking about regret, just living in the past, being in that kind of that negative headspace and the negative kind of thought loops that can kind of just take you round and round in circles and not be particularly productive because they don't go anywhere. So I wanted to share that message today. It's very, very acceptable to feel like a failure. It's very easy to compare yourself to others, to compare yourself to kind of a futile, like fictitious timeline of, well, I should have this much money or this life situation or set up at this age, this much money here and this much money here. You really are only competing against yourself. And a much better way to think about it is to not compare yourself to anyone else, but only to compare yourself to who you were yesterday or last week, and just play that game, if you are going to play one, of just making it your mission to be a better version of yourself and just comparing it to who you were yesterday and just trying to get a little bit better day by day. I feel like that's a real powerful headspace. So hopefully you get some value from this video. If you do enjoy these topics, please feel free to subscribe and share this with someone that might need this. I do make these videos for a younger version of myself, who's someone who would have really benefited from this kind of content. And please support the channel in whichever way you can, and I'll talk to you into the next video soon.